Bitch, you ain't like me, you could never feel my pain. You win and you lose, well, this the fight game. Don't beef on the net and the shit won't change. Said that on the stream, gotta do it for the game. Said that on the stream, gotta do it for the chat. I ain't undisputed. Yeah, hold on, I ain't undisputed, but I want all the straps.
Salute. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Rude Exposure, man. Thank you for coming in. I talked to you a little while ago. I hope you'll be back later, brother. Slide and Counter, man. Appreciate you coming here, man. You won the last trivia game that we had over here, and appreciate you coming in here. And my brother Monty Brown, man. Monty, my man, I love you, man. Thank you so much for coming by, bro. Everything I do for you, man, I do it for love, brother. Today's a bittersweet day in the game, man. This has been the this has kind of been the week of turmoil, the week of death. You know, death is something that's inevitable. I don't fear death. You know, I've lived way more than I'm going to live in the future. I've lived in the past, and it's just a realization that you know, nobody's here forever. And today, a great boxer, man, a man that I watched throughout the years, a man that I was weaned on, Dwight Mohammed Qawi, light heavyweight cruiserweight champion. He passed away today, man, and my heart goes out to the family. He had dementia. He was battling dementia for 5 years, and I'd like to share a little bit about Dwight Mohammed Qawi out of Camden, New Jersey. They called him the Camden Buzzsaw. The first time I saw him, man, I saw him take on Mike Rossman. It was on a CBS. He was a replacement for an opponent that Rossman was going to take on. He pulled out, and this kid from Camden comes in, 5'6" or something, real short character. He always had a smile on his face. His mouthpiece was either too big, and he destroyed Mike Rossman. He just jabbed him. He had a long jab. You know, Mike Rossman was making a comeback. He was a former WBA light heavyweight champion, and he ran into the wrong comeback opponent. He took on Dwight Mohammed Qawi, his television debut. Qawi knocked him out. L-Dub, bro, thanks for coming by, man. Salute. And you know, and that was the first I saw of him. But that was not the last I saw of him. The fans liked what he had to show. In his next fight, he traveled to Rahway State Prison. He took on James Scott. James Scott was beaten by a dude named Jerry the Bull Martin, but he was still feared and he was still popular. James Scott was in Rahway. Qawi was a former inmate at Rahway. He went back to Rahway. He beat James Scott, and man, you know, once again, this Camden Buzzsaw, he's on a roll, and he took on the great Matthew Saad Muhammad. And he beat Saad Muhammad easily, knocked him out in the 10th round. The rematch was even easier. But before the rematch, he took on Jerry the Bull Martin, the guy who beat James Scott. So he wanted to show he was the king of Rahway State. He defeated Saad Muhammad again in a rematch. He took on the Davis brothers, man, Eddie Davis and Johnny Davis, while he was the light heavyweight champion, he took on Michael Spinks. Michael Spinks, he beat him with just a jab. He just showed, man, with that jab, constant pressure. He made it look easy. He beat Dwight Mohammed Qawi, and he took his WBC World Light Heavyweight title. And a lot of people thought that was going to be the end of Dwight Mohammed Qawi. You know, he was like a flash in the pan. And you know, Michael Spinks made it look easy. But that was not the end of them. The end of Qawi. He found the newly created cruiserweight division, and he went down to South Africa. He took on this cat called Piet Kraus, who was I think he was the first WBA cruiserweight champion. He came back with the title. He's a world champion again. He had a couple of defenses. He took on Leon Spinks, and everybody was saying, "Oh, Leon's back again. This is a comeback for Leon." He destroyed Leon Spinks. It was sad to say. He knocked Leon out in 6 rounds. And then he had his first fight with Evander Holyfield. And this was a dog fight, man. This was two guys two guys that just went at it, and it was a war. It was 15 rounds. They both gave more than they got. I mean, it was just an amazing fight. And Qawi was on the short end of a decision. Evander Holyfield, his first title, was kind of making his way to greatness, but Qawi, he hung in there, man. He hung in there. He took on Ozzy Ocasio. We beat him, a well-known former cruiserweight champion, Leroy Murphy, another cruiserweight champion. In fact, he got beat by Ozzy Ocasio. People thought that might be the end of him, but he beat another former champion in Leroy Murphy. And then the rematch with Holyfield, he got knocked out. He got destroyed in 4 rounds. He came back as a heavyweight when George Foreman was making his comeback. He was 235 pounds, and he got knocked out really bad by George Foreman. It was, George's bum of the month kind of a club. He stuck around. Olin Alexander, man, another ranked fighter. He beat Olin Alexander, Tyrone Booz. I mean, he made his way on the circuit. He got beat by some former champion, Robert Daniels. It was on Tuesday Night Fight. He got beat by the original Mike the Bounty Hunter, but he hung in there, man. He fought until he really couldn't fight anymore. Fighting a notable cruiserweights. Never won another title. But I mean, anybody who saw Dwight Mohammed Qawi, the Camden Buzzsaw, 72 years old, a 5-year battle with dementia, and I mean, this guy was just a legend, and this is for Dwight Mohammed Qawi, champ. Rest in power. Rest in power. Anyway,